deployed part of its eastern flank, where American forces are participating in active military drills alongside Western allies. NBC News correspondent Josh Lutterman is at Camp Adazi in Latvia covering the joint exercises. Josh, good morning. What can you tell us?
Well, Mika, when you hear President Biden say over and over again that we will defend every inch of NATO territory, this is what he's talking about. This is the front lines of NATO, a Baltic nation that was part of the Soviet Union that has become very pro-Western in recent years, joined NATO, joined the EU. But they are very scared here that if President Putin is successful in overtaking Ukraine and has territorial ambitions that extend beyond Ukraine, countries like Latvia could be next. These guys that you can see behind me, they are paratroopers from the 173rd Airborne Brigade based out of Italy. And we got a chance today to see their deployment here as the U.S. and their NATO allies undergo an operation called Exercise Crystal Arrow, which is something they do every other year to try to make sure they are ready for anything that could happen. Take a look at what we saw. This morning, American troops far from home, training in Latvia alongside NATO allies, the last frontier between Russia and the West. The battlefield scenarios these war games are simulating are entirely real. Brigadier General Joseph Hilbert oversees the 7th Army Training Command. What message do you think exercises like this send to our potential adversaries?
I think they send that we're ready, and we are again a 30-member alliance that's based on common values of freedom.
It's a little over 100 miles from here to the Russian border. When President Putin says that NATO's expansion into Eastern Europe threatens Russia, this is what he's talking about. But NATO says it's a defensive alliance and that these troops pose no threat. Last month, the U.S. sent an additional 7,000 U.S. troops to Europe to be ready to assist NATO's response force, activated for the first time in its history to defend NATO territory. Attention! The U.S. deployed about 800 troops to the Baltic nations of Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania as Russia moved into Ukraine, plus Apache attack helicopters made in the U.S. This morning, U.S. troops are playing the attackers. Italian troops on the other side playing the defenders. They switch sides regularly to ensure they're ready for everything.
We are training together in case any nation or other alliance were to impede upon NATO.
This morning, Secretary of State Antony Blinken landed here in Latvia as he is on a tour of all 3 Baltic nations to show U.S. resolve to defend all of its NATO allies. Earlier, he was in Lithuania, where Blinken said, look, NATO is defensive. It's not aggressive. It does not seek conflict with anyone, but that if conflict comes to NATO, it will be fully prepared to act. Mika?
All right, NBC's Josh Lutterman, thank you.